Now, what do you do when the dream barn you've just bought is razed by fire? Many people would give up and settle down in a two-up, two-down. But not the Kellis family. Faced with a calamity, they decided to find another barn for a very special site in Hampshire. Sarah Cameron has been.
This family lived in London and were attracted to the rural ideal of living in a converted barn in the middle of the Hampshire countryside. No sooner had they found this site and obtained planning permission than the barn burned down. And to make matters worse, they weren't insured. But they weren't put off.
I do remember the day, even though it was a long time ago. We were standing at the top where the gate is, and we looked down the hill and saw two derelict buildings nestled in a field, looked at each other and said, yes, let's do it.
But that was just the start of it. The whole project took 2 years and Kim Kellis is still adjusting to the change in lifestyle from town to country.
Sounds awful. How do you adjust to living in a place of great beauty? I do love it, but it took me a long time to get used to it. At heart, I'm an urban girl, so I enjoy having shops open 24 hours a day, being down the road. Things that you want are very, very close. After I had seen this barn built, my thinking changed, because I'd watched the workmen work like I don't know what, work so hard through a long winter, really put everything they had into building our home, and we lived here. We were stuck here, so you get on with it. It is different. I still get depressed about being isolated and depending on the car, but it's a different life, and it's a good life.
After the fire, the Kellis family took on architect Hugh Thomas, known around here as the Barn Doctor, to find them another barn. It arrived in pieces on a lorry, and when it was up, they set about converting it into a family home. Architects have been having a bit of trouble with the planners about barns. For a long time, the official line was that barns were for farmers and nobody else. If the farmer went out of business, the barn gently decayed. Pioneers like Hugh Thomas thought they could have another life as homes, but it took a long time for planners to agree. What's required, says Hugh, is respect for these cathedrals of oak and the way they were designed.
Very fortunately, the carpenters of the past numbered every single bay, and so you've got carpenter's marks, which you can see on the beams. So all you've got to do is reverse the process, so every bay is numbered. So you follow that process exactly the same way the frame was made in the carpenter's yard way back 3 or 4 centuries ago.
So the modern builder is actually able to follow those marks?
Yes, and put it all together again, build the frame and haul it up sequentially as they built it originally.
It was the job of the builders, and it must have gone on for 3 months, to lay out these enormous beams and try and figure out where they went. It was like a giant jigsaw puzzle. Enormous long beams with a map, I suppose, and little dymo things, post A, post B, post C. If you take the original shape of a barn, you want to preserve it and keep it as it should be. It didn't have chimneys sticking all over the place. Hugh Thomas has come up with what I think is a magnificent solution. 1 chimney only, it's round, it fits in with the shape of the building, and 1 chimney takes the Aga and 2 fireplaces. So I think we were lucky.
The barn conversion makes a great family home. Its historical importance may have escaped Callum and Alexandra, but it's not been lost on their mother.
When the wooden frame was going up, I would take cups of tea up obscure ladders, and there were enormous medieval beams, we can only assume, and I remember one of the carpenters saying, look at this grandfather of a beam. And it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And when it was all finished, I realised there are medieval beams, we're on a site that's been here for 250 years. We'll go, my family will grow up and we will pass by, and the decor will change and people will argue about the colour of the tiles, but the whole house will stay here for a long, long time, pretty much as it's always been. And I think that's lovely. We're almost custodians, if you like.
After the break, how they piece together the story of Paynes Hill, unloved and forgotten for 50 years, and there's no slacking on the trail of the Heritage Open Days.